Underwood. Thin ice!
So I can't knock down a triple here. Woo, okay. Didn't even miss a shot this entire time, so take that. This better be good for the team.
Oh,
I thought for sure.
there it is. Boom!
Yes! Illini Basketball Podcast episode 249, right? Yeah. Which, ironically, how about this? Check this one out. It's the second month of the year, fourth day of the month. That's 2 and 4. We're just missing the 9. We don't have the 9. But really, it's 4:04 p.m. right now, and you could turn a 4 into a 9. So
sure, yeah, just add 5.
Yeah, but physically though, you know.
Oh, I got you.
I was gonna say something else, but now I forgot. So it's a Tuesday, and Illinois played on Sunday, and they play tomorrow. So there you go.
Yeah,
They won a game. How about that?
they did win a game. I don't know what I'm doing right now, so
You know, Tom Izzo is 2 wins away from passing Bob Knight for the most all-time in the Big Ten.
I saw that. Was he not 1? I thought he was 1. I think he was 2. Terrible.
2 Big Ten wins away is what the thing says. So,
Gotcha.
fun fact for people who didn't know. He scammed his way into most of those wins, though, am I right?
Yeah, he's a cheater.
It might be against
Yeah.
Illinois. I don't know if they'll win 2 of their next 3. Might have a chance against Illinois.
I don't know. Hope not. But yeah, Illinois beats Ohio State 87-79. A lot of talk about Brad changing up the offense this game to not shoot a lot of threes from the Illini fans. I think that maybe, having a 7-foot center that can shoot threes probably benefited that. I don't know if Brad really changed the offense. If you don't think that Illinois tried to penetrate against Nebraska, you weren't watching that game. It just wasn't possible because they could just fill up the lane. This game, Tommy brought out their big. The lane was wide open most of the time. They ran that 3-man action up top with Tommy and Boswell and Riley, and Caspers was in there sometimes. And that's kind of what got them back into this game. So I just think it's weird that people think that Brad, all of a sudden told his team not to shoot threes. It was a benefit of having your center back that can shoot. But
An excellent game from 3 for the team as well. Very good. The starters go 1 for 12. The lane was wide open. There was no answer from Ohio State. I thought Ohio State's defensive plan was not great. And offensively, really, they only had 3 guys that did any damage. And Illinois, what I think Illinois did really well in this game, and I don't know if it was the defensive plan as much as it, the numbers make it look like, but Ohio State took a ton. Their 3 best players in this game were Thornton, Royal, and Mobley. I know Mobley, it's Mobley. I don't know. The one guy that I know is Mobley, and then it doesn't make any sense. Those 3 guys took a ton of twos, 36 twos between those 3. And those 3 also killed Illinois from 3. So the fact that you force those guys into that many twos, Thornton goes 4 for 7 from 3. Royal, who I had 4 Big Ten threes in his career, I think, going into this game or something. As a sophomore, he had 3 in this game. And then Mobley 4 for 8. So they killed them from 3. But Illinois forced them into a ton of twos. And you just saw absolutely no damage from anybody else. Parrish had 4 points. Bradshaw had 2. Glover had 2. And Jagovin had 2. So really nothing from those guys. Illinois forces Ohio State to go 32% from two, which that only boosts Illinois' 2-point defense, which is now ninth in the country, forcing teams at 43.9%. They're also 16th defensively in 3-point percentage. So Illinois' defense has been saving them a lot. And I know they gave up 79 points in this game, but Ohio State made 14 free throws, and their three best guys made 11 threes. So
yeah,
I'm perfectly fine with the way the defense played in this game.
Yeah, and I think Ohio State was kind of like unreasonably hot in the first half of this game, and Illinois kind of, withstood that. First couple plays, Tommy being back, I think Tommy threw it away twice in 3 trips down. KJ threw it away once. Tommy only ends up with 3 turnovers, and I think he had 2 of them within the first minute of the game. So kind of got him back into it. Underwood said, quote, felt we withstood the outer rhythm of having Tommy back. I was smiling yesterday in practice having him back. Thought he forced some things early. Thought it resembled our first semester, downhill driving, getting fouled, getting to the line. And again, that's the benefit of having him in at the 5. And, of course, Merez got the start along with DGL, which, those guys really helped. But it was kind of impressive that even with Merez in, that the lane was so wide open too.
Well, I'll say this, I think it's hard to not look at what Illinois' best lineup is right now, and it has to include Merez and Ivisic together. It has to. I mean, I think Merez was really effective in this game. I mean, he had 15 rebounds, 7 on the offensive end. And I do think that Ohio State probably made some defensive miscues in their plan and the way they played, and I think that's part of why the lane was so wide open. But also, Illinois' offense was really effective, especially in the second half. I mean, they had 13 points in the final 10 minutes of the first half, and they go out and score 51 in the second half. So that was a big part of what went down. And also in a game where Kasparis offensively was off again, had 8 points and was 2 for 8 from the field, you still put up 87 points. Obviously, they went to the line a bunch because they were, not taking as many threes, 23s taken and 31 free throws. I don't know how many games there have been this year where Illinois took more free throws than threes, and it was by 11 this time.
It's true,
so, big factor there.
Yeah, it's kind of surprising. I mean, I think at this point, the way Illinois is shooting the ball, you think teams would just kind of let them shoot it.
But then Oregon
let them do it, and
the Oregon game.
But since then, Illinois has not been good from 3. So
I think that's putting it nicely. I think they've been about as bad as you could possibly be from 3 for a team that's supposed to be much better.
Yeah. But DGL did get his first start, I think, this year, right? I don't know. Did he start at all last year? I don't think he did. First career start for him?
Yeah, first career start, yeah. The most minutes he played in a game last year was the first game of the season. It was 20. And then this year he's already, I mean, you look at DGL in the new year, minutes played, 20 minutes, 20 minutes, 20 minutes, 31, 16, 21, 22, 19, 24, 23. And I think the turning point for him was the Missouri game. He played 14 minutes, had 7 points, went 3 for 4 from the field. And since then he's played double-figure minutes every game. He only played 9 against Northwestern and 6 against Tennessee. He's played double-digit minutes in every game this year outside of those 2. But the fact that in Big Ten play, I don't know how many minutes he's averaging in Big Ten play, but I have to think it's around, 15 to 18 or something.
Yeah, that'd be my guess. Yeah. And I mean, he wasn't overly amazing this game, I would say, but he did have probably the biggest play of the game, getting that steal, took off from damn near the free throw line. Brad said, quote, holy balls of wax. Did you see where he left from?
Is Brad 111 years old?
I don't know. I don't know if I've ever heard holy balls of wax before in my life.
Bizarre.
He also continued to take shots at Piper's shooting for, I think, maybe the 4th time since all that happened.
Do you want to guess DGL's minutes per game? Actually, you know what? Real quick before we get back in, let's go around the room here. Minutes per game for each player in Big Ten play. Starting at the bottom, Jake Davis. How many minutes do you think he's averaging per game in Big Ten play?
8.
10.7.
Okay.
Merez.
23.
19.4.
Okay.
DGL.
DGL's got to be 19.
20.4.
Okay.
Will Riley.
Ooh. I'm going to say right in that 20 range.
20.9. Now I'm going to switch it around a little bit. Kasparis.
32. Well,
31.
I was going to say Michigan State had to hurt that number, but
Boswell.
30-ish.
30.7. Trey White.
Ooh. 26.
25.2. Hummer.
I'm going to say he's up there above Trey. 28.
28.2.
Man, I'm really good at this.
Yeah, very good. Ivisic.
Only games played.
Yeah, 9 games started.
30.
27.5. Interesting. Now let's just real quick while we're here. There are 3 Illinois players shooting above 30%, which is ridiculous. None of them above 35, by the way. And Big Ten play from 3. 3 players. Can you name the 3?
DGL is one of them.
Nope.
What?
26.8%.
Really?
Yeah,
Shit.
he just makes big ones.
I'm gonna have to say Hummer.
Yeah, he's 31%.
Tommy did that 1 for 5, drop him below.
28.6.
Ooh. Jake Davis.
Yeah, 32.3.
And last one would have to be Kasparis, I guess.
Yeah, 34.4. And by the way, Trey White shooting 16.7% in Big Ten play from 3, Boswell 25.5, and Will Riley 22.5. So it's pretty bad. They're
let them shoot. like I said, I think teams are going to adjust to let Illinois shoot. But
it's tough. Let's go through some comments here. Let's see. Quackle, what's going on? I know at one point we were 315 from 3. I think this team is more suited for an old style offense with screens and cuts. I think that is probably a big part of what they do best, but I don't think that you can make that your offense and expect to be really good. I think that they'll be most efficient if they're doing stuff like this, but I think you still need to realize that you have to shoot, a decent amount of think of the teams that like Michigan State, Indiana, Virginia at one point in time, like these teams that shoot 8 to 10 threes a game, it's just not, it doesn't work. And I know Michigan State's really good this year, but they're also outside of Illinois. Michigan State's the example of a team that's got a really good record and good metrics, but is awful from 3. Like that's the only team that's behind Illinois basically in that category. So I think Illinois' offense should be exactly what it was in this game in some ways. I think they probably won't have many games where they only take 23s. But I also think there's going to be a point in time where they start making threes like later. Like hopefully if your 3-point slump is going to be late January, early February, if they're back to being able to, maybe shoot, 34% as a team from 3 in a game, I won't even say 40, but if you're doing that by the end of this month or going into March, I think you're in a great spot because we already know this team can do a ton of stuff offensively. And part of the screens and cuts things involves Trey White and Jake Davis, and those guys are not really doing anything right now. So it would help if they would start doing something. Yeah.
The good thing is that like Boswell started doing it this game. KJ had a couple backdoor cuts, and Will Riley was pretty dang good for most of the game. So it was interesting. Illinois went on that run to get back in this game, and Kasparis was on the bench. It was Kylan Boswell, DGL, Will Riley, Merez Johnson, and Tomislav Ivisic during that run. So Brad said that he really likes having DGL and Boswell on the court at the same time. Defensively, he really likes those two together. So I think this is really good to see. Like, I think it's also good for Kasparis that, he doesn't have to feel like he needs to do everything. And I think why Tommy was out, he probably felt that a little bit. So It's good that Illinois can make a run without. So it kind of makes you wonder: is Tommy more important than Kasparis right now?
If Kasparis is going to go 2 for 8 from the field, yeah.
Yeah, true. Like I said, Brad did change the starters, and we picked 2 non-starters for Pugs. So.
But I think the change was fine.
I do. I'm not
although
about the change.
Might be time to get Trey White out of there.
Yeah, Trey is struggling. We'll talk about him in a little bit.
I don't hate in certain matchups, and I don't know if this might not apply to tomorrow night's game, but if you go DGL, Boswell, KJ, I mean it's very similar height to like KJ's list is an inch shorter than Trey White. He's also better, so I don't hate that idea. Although in that scenario, you kind of are almost playing like DGL is like a small forward, I guess, in some matchups. But
yeah, I think it's super matchup based. I think you could really do it against Ohio State because they do run, some smaller guards out there. But we'll see. I mean, I think DGL is active enough on the defensive end. I think he's tough enough that he's not going to just get backed down by some guys. So
I would keep the lineup the same going into tomorrow night.
Yeah,
same as this game.
And the way, like, DGL is by far the best player on this team right now to fight through a screen. Like, that's where I think Illinois gets killed a lot. And DGL, I mean, he'll run you over if he has to, but he's really good at getting over the top of screens.
That being the case until the cameras come on and High Knees calls him for a couple of fouls.
Yeah, true. Boswell only played 23 minutes this game. He's 5 for 8, 1 for 3 from 3. 3 for 3 from the line, 14 points, 2 rebounds. I mean, he was pretty efficient for Boswell. I mean, from what we've seen from him, but the reason he was my player of the game is what he did like towards the end and to get the team the lead. Illinois was down 1 with 6 minutes left, and Boswell scored like 9 of the next 10 to get Illinois up by 10. So. And that I thought that was, really crucial in the moment. Talked about Tommy being out and Boswell, being the one cutting. He did miss a layup early off of that action, and I think Trey White missed one right after that. But Boswell ended up finding it and made some really good plays down low, got to the free throw line when he needed to, and helped this team pull away. Brad complimented him on his spirit and his energy the last couple of days. He said, quote, we wore them down late in the second half, forcing them into tough twos. You saw that with Mobley taking a lot of, off kilter runners. I think he airballed like 3 or 4 of them with Boswell and DGL on him. And then Underwood was asked about, him not starting and, what he sees from him or whatever. He said, quote, I don't care what he scores, what he shoots. For me, he is an elite defender and has great savvy. To be very honest, he is pretty damn tough. I want his spirit to be great and his energy to be great. I want that competitive fight, and I thought defensively he was sensational today. And it's amazing when you don't have to worry about all the other stuff. Maybe you're worried about me. Maybe you're worried about not starting. I don't know. But other than that smoked layup, it was an incredible performance. Said he was terrific. So, again, Boswell, the defense, I guess, Brad sees something different than I. Like, he got burnt a few times, but Brad wants to play off the back pocket on people, kind of get them from behind if he has to. So he was more than happy with. I mean, I would say he was elated with how Boswell played defense in this game.
That was a different defensive performance than what we've seen when we've actually said something. I'm not too concerned about if he's getting burnt by Mobley or Thornton.
Yeah.
Those guys are good. I went with Will Riley, and Merez does deserve a shout-out, 15 rebounds in this game. Just a glass cleaner. Will Riley played 29 minutes. He was 7 of 9 from the field, 1 for 1 from 3, 9 of 12 from the free throw line, 24 points, 3 rebounds, 1 assist. Very efficient game for him. Apparently, Brad said that he felt he left KJ in too long, and that is why he put Will in late in the game. Quote, Will has played as a second-team point guard, so he's comfortable doing that. He was able to get to his spots with both bigs in setting screens and created a lot of opportunities, and he was sensational at it. Hold on. And then he also said develop a grit. Wait, wrong thing. Hold on. Where am I at? Brad said he hasn't liked bringing in Will and DJ Allen off the bench. I think Will Riley said something about how he's fine coming off the bench or something.
What?
I don't know. The quotes, I got through the quote. I didn't get through the work ethic. Yeah, he's a hard worker. That's great. Will Riley was good in this game.
Yeah, he was really good.
I mean, don't miss 3 free throws, but that's fine. KJ missed 4, so.
Yeah, he seems to kind of be calming down. He was really good at getting the hoop this game. Again, that the lane being open and guys not coming over to help as much as they have been in the past. I think Will Riley one-on-one is really hard to beat. So got to the spots. Also had that really nice pass to Merez. It looked like he was shooting it, but it, little floater over the top. So yeah.
Right.
Anyways. Fans are talking about how good he will be next year. Do you think there's any chance Will Riley comes back next year?
No.
Neither.
Last mock draft I saw for the post Luka trade. How about that trade in the association? I think he was 19th.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and if he keeps having games like this, I mean, he'll be top 20 easy. So.
Which I really don't see it, but that's fine.
Sure.
He just doesn't look it to me, and sometimes he does, but
yeah, it's got to be just because he's 18. So
well, he's a good scorer. I mean, you could tell it just doesn't look doesn't look like Ace Bailey, and we'll talk about him later.
Yeah. Reading these comments, Bootzilla says White will be fine with the exception of Merez and Tommy. All of our players have gone through a slump at some point this season. Don't give up on him yet. Ethan gave up on him before the season, and then he was all in on him, and now he's giving up on him again.
I haven't given up on him. I just think that, he's been pretty bad recently.
Yeah.
Right.
One Cowboy says, guess he hasn't really played that bad to even justify me typing this, but I was going to say the same thing about KJ lately. Not awful, just slumping compared to the start of the season. Yeah, if you're comparing Trey White and KJ, we have a problem. $5 Tommy says Ace is going to give the Crying Illini buckets for 40 minutes.
Those buckets have led to Rutgers being 4-7 in the Big Ten.
And 11-11 overall or something.
With 0 quality wins, right? I mean, they haven't beaten anybody.
Yeah.
We'll get to them later. And it's not a shot. I didn't like Rutgers. I don't know why this fucking loser has to come in here and, say things. We've been just like Nebraska. Like, we've been perfectly pleasant towards Rutgers and Nebraska this entire time.
Yeah, I would say that we were, when Illinois wasn't playing them, I think we were Rutgers and Nebraska fans at least.
And I still like Rutgers. I'm a huge Steve Peichel guy. So
yeah, you've been all over his nuts for 5 years now.
They beat UCLA. I apologize. They beat UCLA.
Jeffrey says 3 Pogs. Merez rebounding, Riley scoring, DGL spark.
By the way, Merez rebounding, like this here, Trey's a darn good rebounder. He can usually finish. Like, if Merez is not in, then fine. But like Merez does the rebounding.
Guys, just wait till we get to Trey White's numbers this game, and then you can try to tell me this stuff. So
and really look at like some of the numbers. Like there's a one-off game against Nebraska where he had a ton of rebounds, but before that, it was like 2 weeks of really not being the same elite rebounder that we saw in other parts of the season. So I don't know.
Jeffrey says even with NIL, you don't think Riley would come back. He still needs to get stronger. Yeah, I mean, that definitely plays a factor in more than it used to.
I don't think we can rule it out.
Yeah.
Rule it out, but I would put it at like 10% right now that he comes back.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
But if he believes that he can be a lottery pick in 2026, which he still has a chance now if he like goes on, continues to, if he has a bunch of games like this, he will be in the conversation. But if he wants to be a lottery pick and thinks he can get really good with 2 years in college and he'll get drafted after a sophomore year, then I could see that maybe happening, but I would doubt it right now. But I guess you never know.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't want to say that like something could happen, but the way he plays, I could see, him getting hurt sometime,
That's because he has a skinny frame.
Yeah. To the starters, since none of them were players of the game, KJ, 32 minutes, 2 of 8, 0 for 5 from 3, 4 for 8 from the line, missed 2 front ends in like crucial late game play. I think that's when Brad ended up benching him. 8 points, 3 rebounds, 7 assists, 1 block, 4 turnovers for him. I wrote down Hummer-like numbers from 3 from KJ.
Hummer's had about 11 of these games too.
But again, this is one where like, Brad blamed the Michigan State game on KJ not playing, but I know he played 32 minutes this game. I don't think he gave you a whole lot. I mean, 7 assists is always nice, but none of them like stick out in my mind that I'm like, oh, like we have in the past.
He made 2 shots in this game, and I'm pretty sure one of them was like a minute and he made a layup. So I don't remember what his other shot was that he made, but I know for a fact that he might have got the first 2 points of the game for Illinois with a layup. So, yeah, not his best offensive little run here. But guys like this, they're so talented. I think he's like a game away from starting to get it going again. Which,
back up.
if you're gonna have a stretch of being bad, you doing it now makes more sense and is better than later. So
I do feel like there were at least like 3 times where he got hammered on the arm. That just no calls. He doesn't seem to get those calls. So the one where he's cutting to the basket and Royal just literally just grabbed his whole arm.
Yeah, was
insane that
he got fouled twice on one play right in front of a ref and there was no call. So yeah, that was good. Although this officiating career, I know Illinois had 31 free throws. So I guess it's easy to say, but they didn't like do anything crazy. I guess they called a lot of fouls. I mean, they called almost 40 fouls. But if Illinois is going to have 14 fouls, they're going to call 25 on Ohio State. There's nothing we can do about it. Also, Ohio State, the way Ohio State played, it was really 3-on-5 the whole game. So I don't really understand why Illinois didn't just kill them. I guess there was a couple. The 3-point shooting is really the only reason that Ohio State didn't get killed in this game.
Yeah, besides the 3 guys that scored 20 plus, the next highest was 4 points. So
yeah, and almost all the damage was done from 3 for those guys in the free throw line. Like they made 11 threes and 12 free throws. So that right there is 45 points. And the only guy that was efficient, the only one of those guys that was really efficient was Royal. He was 10 for 18 from the field, while Mobley was 6 for 21 and Thornton was 7 for 18. So
yeah. Jeffrey says, question how many first rounders actually play or get stuck in the G League? I don't have any clue. Bootzilla says it doesn't matter to these kids. All that matters is I'm in the NBA.
Well, if I look at, quick experiment here, since we're still talking about KJ, I look at the 2024 NBA draft, which is a weak class historically. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4. I mean, most of the top 10, actually, I think all of the top 10 is playing in the NBA. I think a lot of the majority of the first round guys are playing in the NBA right now, depending on what team you went to. Like there's guys like Keyshawn George from Miami who's not playing because he's on the Knicks. And there's, Isaiah Collier with Utah. He might actually be playing. I'm not sure. But most of these guys are playing. I mean, when you get to like 20 to 30, that's kind of where you're like, these could be G League guys. But top 20, especially this draft class this year, I think there's going to be a bunch of those guys who are going to get to play right away. So, and nobody even knows who this number 1 overall pick was last year. There's a big difference between Zachary Rizachet from France, who nobody's ever fucking heard of, to Cooper Flagg. And the year before that, obviously, Victor Wembanyama. So last year's a bit of a one-off in that like the number 4 pick has been way more impactful than most, which is Castle from UConn. So it's situation-based too. And Zach Edey's had a really good year too, number 9 pick. So, and the Bulls, drafted a great player, but they don't let him play. It's total bullshit. Typical Bulls management. They suck. Merez.
Yeah.
Glass cleaner is the archetype.
Glass cleaner.
Well, NBA 2K, glass cleaner is
what they
not.
call it. Okay. 31 minutes for Merez that might be the most he's played in a game this year. If I had to guess, it would be, but
wrong.
Shoot. I guess
Northwestern, he played 35.
Really? Dang.
Yeah. He's played it was a week ago.
I just don't remember seeing 35 minutes.
Vicic didn't play, so I guess it makes sense.
Yeah, it does make sense.
He's played 91 minutes last 3 games.
It's pretty good. Pretty good. 6 of 8, 2 for 3 from the line, 14 points, 15 rebounds, 7 offensive, 8 defensive.
Double in the first half.
Double in the first half, yeah. And 1 block for him. He's like his ability to move and to be in the dunker spot and do things like that, come off the pick and roll, are fantastic. I don't know if he has much of a post game. I think they tried posting him up once this game.
He doesn't need it. He doesn't need it.
Oh, yeah. I'd rather him get rebounds and put it back up, go up a little stronger, a little,
Also, this is a case where good job, Fletch, because if you're a lost cause and you're never going to be able to shoot the ball anyway, it doesn't matter. He'll make you great.
That's true.
Kofi.
This is what he strives on is making these guys big. So I didn't think his defense was that great against Royal. Royal kind of cooked him. I honestly think that Ben played better defense.
Well, it's a better matchup for Merez is a huge body.
Yeah.
And Royal 6'6", 220, like he's a wing.
Right.
I think that should be the expectation because Royal's also a guy who moves his feet a lot. I don't think that Merez is going to be able to guard that as effectively. And also, Hummergaz is like 24, so I don't know why you're comparing the two.
You think that Hummer has quicker feet than Merez to be able to guard laterally?
No, I think they're probably Merez has got to weigh more than they say, right?
Well, they say he is like 220 or something.
No, it says 255, but I feel like he's maybe 265. But it's just Hummergaz weighs 30 pounds less according to the listing, but he's white, so he doesn't have quicker feet.
Yeah. Underwood did say in the postgame that he was, even though he had a double in the first half, he was still pretty mad at him because of how he played defensively. So I don't know. This is a great game from Merez. If you can continue getting this from him, I don't see how he loses his starting spot right now, especially with the way that Hummer's been playing. I mean, it is what it is. I'll be the first to admit it. So, Tomislav played 29 minutes this game, which kind of surprised me. Brad said he was at 60% and still ran him out there for 29 minutes. 5 for 11, 1 for 5 from 3, 1 for 1 from the line, 12 points, 10 rebounds. Only had 1 assist, surprisingly. But I guess on a lot of those cuts, guys got fouled and didn't put it in the basket. Brad said his first full day of practice was on Saturday. So he's literally practiced 1 day. And you could definitely see the rust.
And now he gets the pleasure of 2 days off and having to go to New Jersey. So great. Good for him on that one. Yeah, I thought a perfectly fine game for the expectation, and we didn't really expect him to even play. And he wasn't overly efficient, but he wasn't supposed to be overly efficient. 1 for 5 from 3, I think that's about right. And yeah, 10 rebounds. You'll take a double and coming back off of that. Perfectly fine with me, especially when we didn't expect him to play. So that makes sense. I guess DGL is the next guy to talk about, and he was fine, right?
Yeah, I thought he was fine. Again, he made maybe the biggest play of the game, got the team going. After Brad gave his post-game speech, DGL got up and kind of took that leadership role and told the guys that they need to stay up. Energy needs to stay up. So it's nice to see that from him. The fans seem to think that he replaced Hummer, which is
I'm guessing that 6
hilarious.
people said that, and you're acting like it's a consensus opinion because it's a narrative thing for you. And that's just not true.
No, I'm just saying that Illinois fans are
How many people could have possibly said that?
Enough that it pissed me off.
There's no way that anybody said that.
Dude, I saw it.
I think you probably imagined that.
Maybe I said it.
Well, why would a 6'1" guy replace the 6'9" guy? If that was the case, then DGO would have been guarding Royal.
People are idiots. That's what
I don't think anybody said that, though. That's what I'm trying to say.
I was surprised that he only played 23 minutes. Everybody's been clamoring for 30.
Yeah, that's true. Trey White, by the way, had 14 minutes, 0 points, 2 rebounds. Really good game from him. You said something about Trey. Something, keep him in the lineup because of his rebounding. And
yeah, that's what people have been saying, but apparently nobody says anything that I say they say, so it doesn't really matter what I think. This is the Trey White that you thought Illinois was getting, is also what I put.
I don't know if I go that far. Trey White played 14 minutes. I wanted to ask before we get to the bench.
Yeah.
Orange Crush seems to see some mixed reaction on social media. Some I think it was Illini Fan Nation or something saying way to respond. I thought they stunk still. I mean, I wasn't impressed.
I mean, they I wouldn't say they were good until Illinois started making a run at the end.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
like,
which
useless unless you're
that's easy. That's
a
easy to get up for. The problem is getting up before that point and staying in the game.
You know what? I think this is where we connect everything is the kill shots, which are the 10-0 runs. Orange Crush is only useful during the kill shots, and Illinois had 3 of them in this game. So outside of that, I think they suck. And the entire middle section behind the court operators, all that stuff, whatever they call that shit, operating the clock, those types, media and announcers and stuff. That section behind them was awful. I mean, there was like 3 people in that section that were doing anything. I don't think they're very good. I don't understand why we're trying to give them credit now. If Rutgers will probably be a good atmosphere tomorrow night. They usually are. But if Rutgers is actually as good as their top end talent was, it would be an insane environment. I think it still will be pretty good.
True.
But I don't think they're very good. But whatever, if people want to give them credit. Also, this is not the game where we're looking for something big. Michigan State is the game where we're looking for something big. But I guess it's a slight improvement, and that's all I'll say because I'm not going to give them credit for anything. It's really not that hard to just be good at this or be better at it. And I don't think they were that much better. Bootzilla says Orange Crush improved, but a long way to go. Yeah, improved is a strong word. Maybe slightly improved is as far as I'd be willing to go on it. I think Jeffrey says, I think Trey's game is really about what he's asked to do. I think that's fair. But also, if you're going to play 14 minutes, prefer you do something other than have no points and a foul and miss 2 shots and 2 rebounds. My biggest problem with Trey White on offense is just him trying to create for himself. Like, I think there are times where it's fine because I think he's a decent mid-range jump shooter, but also we don't need him like backing people down and trying to score, especially when he hasn't really been scoring very much recently. I think there's maybe a bit of a cold stretch here for him right now, but I'm sure he'll figure it out. He's a veteran guy. I'm not too concerned about, him in March being a big problem for the roster. Off the bench, Jake Davis played 2 minutes, 0 for 1. It was a 3, had no other stats. And you said crazy when Ivisic is back, how nobody cares how much Jake plays or whatever, if Jake plays.
Yeah, I mean, people were talking about how great he is, and now he plays 2 minutes. Nobody cares. So,
yeah.
Of course, nobody probably said that either, so I'm just...
Probably not. I don't think anybody said that. I think...
just making shit up.
You're talking to the wall, I think.
Yeah.
I didn't talk about Hummer. I saved it for this moment.
Oh, Hummer played 17 minutes. He went 2 for 4, had a little booty ball action. Good stuff. 1 for 3 from 3, 5 points, 3 rebounds, an assist, a steal, a block. How about that for defense? I'm good with 15 to 25 minutes of Hummer every game.
Yeah, keep it on the low end of that. Hummer's back down score was not even a good. It wasn't good touch. The hoop caught the ball.
Yeah.
But other than that, yeah, he's fine, efficient. I mean, he's second highest offensive rating on the team in this game outside of Merez. And then, of course, third, and that was Will Riley, and DGL was fourth, and Boswell was fifth, which is why the offensive rating isn't really an indicator of total impact, because obviously I think Will Riley was their most effective offensive player in this game. But Hummer, 1 for 3 from 3 is about as much as we can expect at this point. And I think there are matchups where, like tomorrow night, he shouldn't be anywhere near trying to guard Ace Bailey, but he's gonna at some point, I would think.
Yeah, I'm guessing, yeah.
Let Ace Bailey have 35. I think you could beat Rutgers if Ace Bailey is 35. I mean,
that's you look at their at Rutgers stats, and it's 2 guys, and that's pretty much it. And one of them we don't even know if he's going to play. So, Brad did say that he was sensational against Royal, and that Royal only scored 2 points on Hummer. So,
well, how many minutes did they go head to head? That'd be my question. There's no way. Royal played 26 minutes. Didn't catch me. 36. Ha, joking.
One cold boy says, totally said last week he's a 6th man if I've ever seen one, and that's no slight. So, yeah. It's fine. He was good this game. So nobody can even complain.
All right. Well, we spent 42 minutes on this.
Yeah,
game,
we'll skip all the rest. It's fine.
Well, you can read the first 3 bullet points there. I don't think we need to hear from Brad, because I got a Brad quote from earlier today that I wanted to discuss for the Rutgers game.
I mean, he congratulated the women's team for beating number 14 Maryland when he opened. Brad said that OSU is very good at taking away the 3 and forcing you into 2v2 ball screen coverage. The reason why they didn't shoot so many threes. He thinks Merez and Tommy were stepping up on Bruce Thornton all game, which I never saw. So I don't know what's up with that. And then he said they have been 28 days straight unhealthy. He said, quote, I go back 28 days back to KJ, and that is time lost. Now is a good time to get healthy. I can't go change the past, but I think our guys have gotten better, and our guys have had to step up and be productive. And so that is comforting. Now we have to develop a chemistry. We have to develop a grit and a fight and play with a spirit that is worthy of a team that wants to do something in the postseason.
That quote is annoying as shit, but whatever. Nothing we can do about it.
Illinois now has 6 quad 1 wins, and Brad said, quote, I play to those rankings and those metrics a lot. I'm sure the fans will love to hear that too.
Also, for what it's worth, I know Illinois' shooting has been bad for a while, but Ohio State is 7th in the country in guarding the 3 in terms of percentage. And they're not that – they hold teams to 48.3% from 2, and Illinois shot 68% from 2 in this game. So, a little dominant there.
Did you see Brad's hand in the post-game press conference? It looks like he put it through a window. Didn't he mess it up during the what was that? The Michigan State game? No. Who do you have to shake hands with the offhand? Nebraska game? I think it was Nebraska. I don't think we ever got an update on that from anybody. But anyways, good win, good comeback from the boys. Good things coming when they're healthy. And
I don't know if we'll ever spend 44 minutes of the game, but there you go. Congrats, Ohio State fans. It's good.
Oh, we're not playing Nebraska. Hold on, let me get that fixed. My bad. That's all.
I just noticed the ranking being wrong. What do you think Brad uses to dye his hair?
Probably just for men. I think that's like go-to number 1. Well, actually, he probably uses something expensive. Probably goes to the salon.
I think he would look weird without it, though, so I think he should probably keep doing it.
Sure.
Anyway, Illinois plays at Rutgers tomorrow night, 7:30 Big Ten Network. What's the lead-in for that game? I didn't even look, because I'm sure there's a 5:30 game. Probably an East Coast style. Yeah, Oregon at Michigan. That's a good lead-in. So good doubleheader, and there's a bunch of good Big Ten games tonight. We'll get to that later. Illinois is 23rd in the country now, right? Did I do that? I was just guessing. They're 23rd, right?
23rd or 24th. Yeah,
I think it's
23rd, because I was guessing 24th. So
they're 15-7, 7-5 in the Big Ten. At Rutgers, who's 11-11, 4-7 in the Big Ten. Big Ten Network tomorrow night, 7:30. Brad Underwood said, quote, earlier today, talking about how Dylan Harper has missed the last 2 games with an injury. How is Rutgers different without him? Brad said, quote, you lose one of the elite offensive players in the country. But I think their other guys, their bench guys, have really stepped up, which that is true. We'll get into the stats on that. I don't know about Dylan Harper's status at all going into this game. I don't even know what the injury is. But if there's anything we know about Dylan Harper, it's that you never know, because whatever happened in the Michigan State game where he was supposed to start, didn't start, then it seemed like he wasn't going to play, but did play.
Came in like the first 5 minutes, right?
Now, NJ.com. Their headline from February 1st in their print, I don't know if they have a paper or not, but NJ.com, very fancy. If they did, I get the paper. I just hit my mic. Could Rutgers star Dylan Harper be sidelined the rest of the season with injury? ? What Steve Peichel said. And then if you try to read the article, you'll see, hey, you're not a subscriber. So that's all I know. That's all I got. I don't know what he said, but I think you prepare for this game as if Dylan Harper's playing. So
absolutely.
First time in New Jersey since December 2nd of last season, 2023. They beat Rutgers 76-58. Terrence Shannon Jr. had 23 points, 10 rebounds, 3 assists. Obviously, both of these teams vastly different than they were last year. Rutgers is more talented, but maybe worse. I don't know if they're worse, but they're not much better. I mean, last year in the Big Ten, they did end up going 7-13. So I think this team's probably on that similar track. They might win more than 7, though. Who knows? It's schedule dependent. And their schedule the next 2 is not easy. But
this article says it's from 11 hours ago. I don't know if that's true or not. Holy cow, what a day. He has a high ankle sprain. He said that when he's 100%, that's when he'll be back, but he's not there yet. He's working hard and doing everything to return. But it's not an easy injury to heal. So
yeah, high ankle sprain. He's not playing. He's not playing tomorrow night, especially if he wants to get to 100%. Powder. If he gets to 100%, I would say next Wednesday he might be back against Iowa, which is tough because they go to Maryland on Sunday. But, yeah, that doesn't seem like – I mean, Tommy Slav came back earlier than we expected, but I don't think if he wants to be 100% when he gets back, then this is a league play by him. He's just wanting to get to the league. So the opposite of his brother, who's a winner in college basketball, but still talent, talent's talent. Rutgers, much different team though this season, and the post-Geo Baker, Ron Harper Jr. era has not been good. They have 2 bona fide absolute lottery picks on this team. Ace Bailey is a guy that there are flashes where I really, really like him, and then there are times where I don't even know if I'd take this guy in the top 7, but I think he's just such a gifted offensive player that I think you have to. But both of these guys, I think the odds of them both going top 5 are better than not. So something to consider there. Historically, Illinois is 3-4 in road games against Rutgers. Underwood himself 2-3 in Piscataway. They won in his first season at Illinois, and then they won last season. Notable that the 2021 team lost at Rutgers. Of course, that team would go on to get a 1 seed in the NCAA tournament. So it's always hard to play there, but they just aren't really as good as they were back then, I guess. Rutgers is 46-43 in the last 3 seasons with 0 NCAA tournament appearances after they made it in 2021. They got to the second round. In 2022, they lost in the plan. But I still like Peichel a lot. I think he's a really good coach. It's just this is a tough roster to kind of – the roster construction is tough, but it's understandable that maybe you don't have the best roster construction when you bring in – 2 top 5 recruit 5-star guys. I don't know how much more NIL they have. I don't know how much more they can surround them with. There's guys in this team that have also shown flashes, but it's just not a good, you're relying on a freshman as your center. It's a weird situation that Rutgers is in with their roster construction, but it's hard to not think that how good this team could be if they had a couple veteran, good, reliable players in their lineup to go along with Harper and Bailey. And if Harper was healthy, I think this would be different. But they're 3-6 in the new year. They did beat UCLA, but that was when UCLA was at their lowest point. And also UCLA traveled from Westwood to Piscataway, which is probably like 6 billion miles. Personnel-wise, Dylan Harper, like we said, he's missed the last 2 games. High ankle sprain, apparently. Wouldn't expect him to play in this game, but you never know. Former future Illini Jeremiah Williams, once committed to the program, is at Rutgers these days. Started at point guard the last game, but only played 9 minutes. They had 30 minutes for Jamichael Davis off the bench, 27 for Zach Martini, and 21 for Tyson Acuff. Ace Bailey, lot to handle. 0 for 7 from 3 against Michigan in their last game on Saturday. So he'll probably go 5 for 6 or something against Illinois. But he had 37 points on 13 of 20 shooting against Northwestern, the game that they won. It's a revenge game for Merez Johnson against Peoria's Lathan Somerville, who bodied him in high school last season. Well-known fact. Bodied Thornton and Merez. Rutgers went 10 for 36 from 3 against Michigan, but their starters went 0 for 14, and their bench went 10 for 22. So interesting numbers there with their starting lineup and their bench. This team uses their bench quite a bit, and that's part of what Brad was saying. They've had guys step up. In terms of offensive efficiency and defensive efficiency, Illinois is 21st on offense, 11th on defense. They're 8th in tempo. And then Rutgers is 65th in offensive efficiency, but their offensive Big Ten play has been pretty bad. They're 16th in the conference in offensive efficiency, and then 10th in defensive efficiency. Illinois 8th on offense, 3rd on defense in conference play. And then Rutgers is 96th in tempo. So if Illinois can kind of get out and run a little bit, that's a good way to get the crowd out of it. I know the Rutgers crowd might be harder to take out of the game than, let's say, an Illinois crowd might be. But, I won't take an unnecessary shot, even though I just did. Turnover percentage on offense, Illinois 93rd, Rutgers 39th. So neither of these teams turned the ball over that much. Illinois obviously had a couple games where they were turning it over a lot. I think Ivisic brings a different element to the offense where maybe they won't turn it over as much as long as they can be consistent. And Illinois forces no turnovers. In the country, they're 356th on defense and turnover percentage. In the Big Ten, they are 8th, and then Rutgers or 18th, and then Rutgers is 12th. So the numbers say that neither of these teams are going to turn over that much, but you never know, especially on the road. Illinois, a younger, more inexperienced team than they've had in the past, and they've had games where they've gone on the road and given good performances, whether it's losing to Michigan State by a couple, or destroying Oregon, or hanging on against Washington, stuff like that. Rutgers is 51% 2-point distribution in terms of their point distribution, so they make a lot of twos. 16th in average height, Illinois is 11th. Rutgers 25th in bench minutes percentage, and Illinois 7th in effective field goal percentage on defense. Those are the important computer numbers. I will say from three in Big Ten play, Illinois is last now at 28.1, and Rutgers is 11th at 33.3. But Rutgers is also 17th from 2, whereas Illinois is 3rd. And Illinois' defense has been number 1 in the conference in guarding the 2 in terms of percentage at 45.9. So players to watch.
I went with Merez Johnson and Lathan Somerville because I couldn't believe you didn't. So I had to go with them. Like you said, matchup from when he apparently got cooked in high school. So we will see what happens there. I think that Merez is going to come with some fight this game, and it'll be interesting. Somerville's stats have not been great. He's averaging 7 points a game and only 4 rebounds. I don't think he has a game with double-digit rebounds this year. So cook he might have in high school, but cooking in college he is not.
166th, Rutgers is an offensive rebound percentage, and they're 199th on the defensive end in terms of allowing those offensive rebounds. So Illinois once again has a big rebounding advantage. I'm going Kasparas, first game, I guess, of the year against a fellow lottery guy, assuming that Dylan Harper doesn't play, is at least one guy, though, with Ace Bailey. So I'd be curious to see if KJ comes out and puts up a big game. There'll be scouts watching, I'm sure, probably at the game. And the last time there were scouts at the game where the broadcast wouldn't shut up about it was at Oregon, and he was cooking. So maybe he'll do it again. And then Tyson Acuff, or however the hell it's pronounced. Also, shout out to Ace Bailey. I don't want us to not include Ace Bailey in this and him have 50 points. He's going to have a lot of points, I'm sure. So, shout out to him. This guy, Acuff, shoots at 37% from 3, 4 for 8 against Michigan, 6 for 14 from 3 in the last 3 games. And predictions.
I am going with Illinois scoring a bunch. I know that, the RAC is a tough place to play. I just don't see much from this Rutgers team.
Jersey Mike's Arena.
I know, but you'd get mad if I called it that, so I don't even know what to do anymore.
Exactly. Yeah.
But yeah, if they don't have Dylan Harper and they're relying on Ace Bailey to, do everything, I think that Illinois has a really good chance of winning this in double digits. I'm going to go Illinois 84, Rutgers 72.
I will say, though, if you look at their bench against Michigan, their bench, 40 points off the bench. If Jamichael Davis has a game like he did against Michigan, watch out. 4 for 7 from 3. But no, I'm going to go Illinois 77-69. I think they take care of business. They could probably have a slow start in this game. The big thing for Illinois in this game, I think, is to come out. You got to make a couple shots early. Yeah. I think if you're going to take a couple threes early, you got to make at least one of them or two. You got to come out and make some shots. And that's what last year's team did on the road at Rutgers. If you look at the first 10 minutes of last year's game at Rutgers, Illinois held a 24-13 lead. They're up 11 the first 10 minutes. That's kind of how you take them out of it. And then, obviously Rutgers climbed back in. It was a 5-point game at the half, but then Illinois goes +9 in the first 10 minutes of the second half last year. So you got to come out and play well early if you're Illinois in this game. And I think they will, but I still think it won't be as big of a, they held their own against Michigan. So
yeah, that's true.
All right. Now around college basketball / the Big Ten. Michigan State at UCLA tonight, perfect time, 9:00 Central on Peacock. I'm sure that'll be great for everybody.
Yeah, that's where all the 9:00 games should be, over on Peacock.
Well, before that, Purdue at Iowa, but Iowa obviously Owen Freeman out for the year, so scratches them off of the list of relevance. 8:00 on Big Ten Network, USC at Northwestern. I'll be curious to see, since they're doing 3 Peacock games tonight, apparently. Is that true?
I don't know.
Well,
there's like 6 games tonight, right?
Yeah. Ken Pound says Indiana, Wisconsin's on Peacock too, but I don't know if that's true or not. But Indiana, Wisconsin will be interesting. It might not be. Wisconsin might kill them, but you never know.
Peacock. Yeah, 3 Peacocks.
Wow. Minnesota, Penn State's the other Big Ten Network game, so very exciting. And then, of course, Arizona, BYU is 11 Eastern tonight. Jesus.
Yeah.
That'll be good, though.
And I guess we never talked about Barnheiser being out either. Barnheiser done for his college career. So
he could sue and get a 5th.
Oh, yeah. He'll definitely play a 5th.
Kentucky at Ole Miss, too, tonight, by the way. Interesting game for Kentucky coming off a loss to Arkansas. Going on the road, too, against the Chris Beard team. I think that's probably another loss for Kentucky. I think the length and the physicality of Ole Miss is going to give Kentucky's offense some fits. And Marquette at St. John's tonight. Somehow the 4th highest thrill score of the night tonight on KenPom. I think that might be the best game tonight. Maybe the most interesting game, at least. Marquette coming off a home loss to UConn, and then St. John's has been rolling. St. John's has won 8 games in a row. St. John's since November 30th is 14-1. So since having 2 losses in 3 games at the battle for Atlantis, they blew a game against Baylor, lost in double overtime. They ran Virginia out of the gym, then lost by 3 to Georgia. 14-1 since then. Only loss was on the road by 1 point, where they held Creighton to 57 points. Pitino's got it going, and the schedule has not been very hard, but for them to be 19-3, it's not something that would have been happening there before Pitino got there. It would have been a Mike Anderson special of going 20-15, missing the tournament, or 18-14. So St. John's, shout out to them. We'll get to them in a minute, actually, but
gotta pat yourself on the back. I got you.
Yeah, pretty brilliant. At least they're probably not gonna make it, but giving them a fair shot. Missouri plays Tennessee tomorrow night. That'll be a very interesting game. Tennessee to win without Ziegler against Florida, a nice win. Even though I think it's a really
Ziegler and somebody else, right? They had 2 guys out. Or am I crazy? Somebody got.
Yeah, Milicic was out, but he kind of stinks.
Okay.
No, he's been fine. He had 19. He had 19-9-4 the game before he missed, so I shouldn't say that. But just against Illinois, I wasn't impressed. So for them to do that with pretty much 7 guys and 6 of them playing 20-plus minutes. It's big time. It just shows that if Tennessee's going to do anything this year, it's going to be Chaz Lanier and Jordan Gainey scoring. That's the only way, because that's how they beat Illinois. That's the only way. That's why I don't really trust Tennessee at all. Like, I don't think Tennessee's going to make it past the Sweet 16 this year. But that was a big win. And Missouri's played really clean. Like, Missouri's losses this year, they have the Kansas win. Their losses are Memphis, who's good, and that was on the road. And that was the first game of the year, so you can excuse that. They lost to an Illinois team that was starting to round into form. They lost to them by 3. They lost to Auburn by 16, which, who hasn't? And then they lost at Texas by 8. A big opportunity for them, though, this week. They got at Tennessee, and then they host Texas A&M. Of course, I mean, they obliterated Mississippi State, which Mississippi State is a team that I just can't figure out. Like, from the metrics perspective, Mississippi State's like good, and they've been ranked for a long time, but I don't really think they're that good. I don't trust them at all, especially when they're not elite defensively. Like, last year's Mississippi State team was top 25 defense. They could muck it up, nasty, physical, won 2 SEC tournament games, held Tennessee to 56 points, beat them in the SEC tournament last year. I don't trust them this year. And Missouri obliterated them. So Missouri's up to 23rd on KenPom. They started the year 10-1. Since then, they're 7-3. Those 3 losses, Illinois, Auburn, Texas, all top 30 teams in the metrics. So they got Tennessee, Texas A&M, Oklahoma, Georgia, Alabama for the next couple weeks, which kind of shows how big of a gauntlet the SEC is. And Alabama, beginning this tough stretch, if you count Mississippi State as the start of their tough stretch, they're 2-0 in that stretch. So I think the start of the stretch really is the 15th against Auburn. But for them to – so if you look at KenPom's numbers, Alabama plays the number 4 team, the number 5 team, the number 1 team to end the season, with 2 of those games being on the road. So good luck with that. Mississippi State reminds you of Houston. They would remind me of Houston if Mississippi State had 1/10 of the talent that Houston does. Yeah, definitely. You're right. Iowa State, back-to-back losses to one team from Manhattan, Kansas, and one team from Lawrence, Kansas. Back-to-back blowout losses they've lost 3 in a row, actually, now that I think of it. They lost an overtime game by 11 to Arizona on the road, which fine. I mean, Caleb Love makes a half-court shot. It's a freak situation.
3-quarter shot, yeah.
They lost to Kansas State by 19 at home. That's a bad loss. And then they just weren't ever close last night. Lost by 17 to Kansas. I still don't really like Kansas very much this year, but they did get it done. I think Houston far and away the best team in the Big 12, even though they lost to Texas Tech by 1. I don't know if I'll say
Texas Tech.
Yeah, I don't know if I'd say far and away, but I still trust Houston the most right now. But Texas Tech is pretty legit. Texas Tech is kind of an example of, like, I guess this is kind of what Mississippi State should be. Like, if Mississippi State's not going to be an elite defense, they need to have an elite offense. And Texas Tech has an elite offense. And McCasland, minus some of the defensive numbers this year, is much more representative of kind of what Chris Beard was for Texas Tech than Mark Adams, even though Mark Adams is like Chris Beard's go-to guy and he's on staff at Ole Miss now. But McCasland's a phenomenal coach, and he's done a really, really good job. I mean, Texas Tech in 2023, when they fired Mark Adams, that team was 16-16. They went 5-13 in the conference. McCasland comes in. They go 23-11 last year. They lost in the first round to an NC State team that got to the Elite Eight. And then this year they are 17-4. They have an NBA guy, JT Toppin, New Mexico transfer, played 4 minutes, got ejected for just something absolutely ridiculous. But the game before that, they beat TCU by 14 at 18-14-3. Like, I think Texas Tech is going to be a real threat in March.
Yeah.
Let's see. My Big Ten rankings. Very important.
Please just do 10 of them.
We will start from 18. 18 is Minnesota. 17 is Washington. 16, this is tough. I think they would be better than this, but Barnhizer out. I think Northwestern 16th.
Wow.
Penn State 15th. I don't like them at all. Iowa 14th. Freeman out. Gone. See ya. Rutgers 13th. Just because I think, like, if Dylan Harper and Ace Bailey are healthy, I think Rutgers could make that run to the Big Ten semis or the finals. That just doesn't make any sense.
True. Yeah, I can see that.
Indiana 12th. Like, what? I almost feel bad for Indiana fans having to watch this team. Like, it's just not fun. Like even if they win, it's not fun. What is fun about them? They're not good at anything. Like they're not top 30 in any metric across the board at all, or even close. Like that's just not fun. The one thing where they're top 30 in the country, there's three things according to Ken Palm's metrics: 2-pointers, point distribution, which that's not fun. What was the other thing? Average height. Wow, amazing. And then strength of schedule. Other than that, it's not fun. They've lost 5 of 6 after beating Ohio State. This could easily be a 6-game losing streak. They got at Wisconsin tonight, home against Michigan, at Michigan State. They might be 5-9 going into a Friday night game against UCLA next week. So Indiana, not fun. Nebraska 11. I think Nebraska fights, and I like their perimeter, like the Bryce Williams, and is that his name? Yeah, those guys. Yeah. USC 10th. USC another team that fights, and USC a well-coached team. That's why I said almost, Bootzilla. Oregon 9th. This team I just don't trust at all. Like their perimeter, I don't trust them at all, and that's why I have Ohio State at 8 ahead of them. I like Ohio State's guards way more. Oregon's not getting enough from basically anybody, but they've really struggled. UCLA 7th, they're coming around. Wisconsin 6th. And in the top 5, I got Maryland 5, Illinois 4, Michigan 3, Michigan State 2, Purdue 1. I think that's all fair.
Yeah.
I don't see people argue that. All right. Rounding down here. This is just a warm-up because Countdown to March Madness on Monday the 10th, coming live here, February 10th, 4 o'clock. That'll be 2 hours probably. So
at least.
Bear with me here.
At least. Ethan won't be able to talk after that.
Preseason Final Four. I had Alabama, UConn, Gonzaga, St. John's. Spoiler alert, I'm keeping one of those teams in my updated. I had Alabama winning it all. You had UConn, Houston, Alabama, Indiana, which is just, oh my God, atrocious. But that's all right.
I mean, Indiana's 2 games away from having 4 quad 1 wins. And like, if they hang on at Maryland and they hang on at Purdue, they would be sitting all right. But they didn't.
But their metrics suck, and they're 12th on the only rankings in the Big Ten that matter. So, and they're just
Michigan State in the rematch. We're number 2, no doubt. One Cold Boy says.
Well, it's a good thing these rankings don't matter at all. But yeah,
it's just Ethan, guys.
Any rankings, like Andy Katz at Illinois, like 28th this week. He's a fucking loser. Fuck him. Fuck everything he stands for. He's a fucking idiot. He doesn't know fucking shit about college basketball. And he's propped up like this fucking talented guy. He's a fucking loser. Anyway, do you have an updated Final Four? Or you want to keep yours the same?
No, I will update my Final Four you said what I had. I'm going to go with Alabama. I'm going to put Texas Tech in there. Duke, obviously. And then my last one, man, I don't even know. Give me Marquette, maybe. I like
Jesus
Marquette.
Christ.
How's Marquette?
Wow, that's about as bad as Indiana.
Maybe I'll keep Houston in there. Wait, Auburn. Hold on, Auburn. Sorry.
Oh, wow, you're taking 2 of the top 5 teams, 3 of the top 5 teams in the country. That's tough. No, I did the same thing. I got Duke. I got Houston. I have I'm going to go Florida out of the SEC. If there's one SEC team, give me Florida.
Really?
I just think their guards.
You really like Florida.
Well, their guards are like Walter Clayton is a stud. And I understand that he didn't have a great game against a very talented defensive Tennessee team. Like he went 3 for 13 in the field. But the good thing is they probably won't play Tennessee in the tournament. So give me Florida. I mean, the guy had 28 against Mizzou. He had 33 against Kentucky. Those 2 games they lost. So I think they'll be fine. They're old. They're big. They're very, very talented perimeter. You got Will Richard and Elijah Martin there as well. Walter Clayton, experienced guys in the tournament. On top of that, I just think Auburn's going to slip up. They usually do. I almost hesitated putting Duke in just because they're not going to have a competitive schedule the rest of the way outside of the Illinois game. But I think Duke is just way, way, way too talented.
If Duke beats Illinois by 20, is it really a competitive schedule, though?
And Illinois is not that good either, let's be honest. My 4th team is I don't really think they're going to make it, if we're being honest. But St. John's, I'm keeping them.
You're keeping it. I knew you would. Bootzilla, I changed it to Auburn. Calm down.
Yeah, Marquette. Did you watch Marquette on Saturday?
They literally are just on the top of my screen right now. That's the only reason why I said it.
Also, if we just had to do like you got to take another team from this conference, the ACC, you don't take any other teams. The Big Ten, the only team I would trust right now to make the Final Four might be Michigan, just because I think there's teams that are going to be confused by trying to figure out the whole Wolf Golden thing.
Yeah.
And then from the SEC, I would probably just take Alabama over Auburn. I just think Alabama is one of those teams where they got far last year. They're going to maybe do it again. And then for the Big East, the other team that I would take is UConn. Like, I'm not just going to pretend like UConn is not like UConn is a guarantee second weekend team. I think UConn easily gets to the second weekend.
Yeah.
So
everybody agrees with you and Duke playing terrible teams. So welcome to the ACC, the new ACC.
Yeah, you get all these coaches hanging it up, and now the conference is just awful. I mean, North Carolina is I don't understand how Hubert Davis was ever close to winning a title at North Carolina, because they're just everything that's wrong with like trying to like John Scheider's done a phenomenal job in comparison to some of these other guys that have taken over with like did North Carolina have a plan is kind of what I wonder. I guess Hubert Davis was always their plan, but as the New England Patriots have shown us in professional football, your plan's not always great. So
True.
There you go. All right, this episode's been way too long, so we'll see everybody next time, which I would assume would be Friday, Thursday or Friday. So I don't know.
Yeah. Also, we did drop some merch. Ethan thinks we're used car salesmen if we push it. So and fraudsters. So if you want to go check it out, it is Illini Basketball Podcast shop dot fourthwall.com. Ethan put up Illini Basketball Podcast shirt today. He's working on a thin ice for you guys. He can't get it done. You can buy Hummer gear there. Best seventh man in the league. It does have our logo on the side. So if you guys want to support us, we appreciate it. It's not necessary though. So
I'll say the thin ice shirt is done. I just haven't put it on there yet. I'll do that tonight, I guess.
Yeah. So check it out. We'll do a giveaway for one of the Illinois Basketball Podcast shirts sometime soon. We got to figure out exactly how we want to do it, because I want to be able to include the people that are here live with YouTube and the people that listen, later on Spotify and all that stuff. So we'll figure that out for you guys. And we'll see you Friday.
Yeah, that works. Super Friday. Underwood.
Thin ice!